People love to say food tasted better in the 70s. What they don't mention is your entire weekly grocery budget might have been $12. And gourmet meant putting a slice of American cheese on a bologna sandwich. These 20 foods didn't just feed working class families in the 1970s. They defined what survival tasted like, and most of them have quietly disappeared. Hey there, nostalgia lovers! Welcome to Nostalgia Area. In 1974, minimum wage was about $2 an hour. That's roughly $64 a week before taxes. Rent averaged around $160 a month. Do the math, and you're left with about $25 a week for everything else. Food, utilities, clothes, everything. The USDA suggested $40 a week for a family of 4. That's about $1.40 per person per day. That's not a food budget, that's a math problem. And the foods on this list, they weren't chosen because they were good. They were chosen because they worked. Let's get into it. Before pre-packaged Rice Krispie treats existed, they were made in bulk at home. Cut into squares that stuck to the pan if someone forgot the pan. Cost about 12 cents per square when you bought the cereal in the big box and the Carol corn syrup by the jar. 3 ingredients, 1 pot, 1 9x13. On good weeks, it was dessert. On bad weeks, it showed up at breakfast.
That's a snap, crackle, pop. Come on, say it. No, snap, crackle.
10 cents a package in 1973. By the mid-70s, it was in every budget pantry in North America. Then someone figured out the trick. Crack an egg into the boiling water. Suddenly, it wasn't just ramen. It was a meal. That one move might be the greatest budget upgrade of the decade. 18 cents in 1974. Pimento cheese. Sharp cheddar, cream cheese, pimentos, a little mayo was a Southern staple that had already worked its way into budget kitchens across North America by the early 70s. You made it on a Sunday, it lasted the week. It smells like school lunches. This is not Hungarian goulash. Ground beef, elbow macaroni, canned tomatoes, whatever spices hadn't expired. Cost about 60 cents for a pot. Hamburger Helper launched in 1971 and tried to systematize this. But families have been making their own version for decades. The name made it sound intentional. It wasn't. It just worked. 35 cents a serving. Canned tuna folded into a white sauce, then ladled over white toast. Sometimes peas were added if someone was feeling ambitious. The white sauce was the technique that separated the families who stretched ingredients from the families who opened a second can. That sauce became the meal. The tuna was just the flavor. 15 cents a plate, tops. Hot dogs sliced and stirred into canned baked beans, heated on the stove. Maybe with bread, maybe not. There's a specific smell when baked beans hit a hot pan. Sweet, slightly smoky, like the night before the school week. If you grew up eating this on a Saturday, that smell will find you for the rest of your life. This one is different from everything else on this list. You didn't buy it. The government gave it to you. Under USDA commodity programs, low-income families received 5-pound blocks of processed American cheese. Dense, bright orange. Took effort to cut, but melted perfectly. The best mac and cheese you've ever had might have come from a government program. 49 cents a can in 1972. 6 servings if you were careful. 8 if you were desperate. You sliced it cold on a sandwich, or you fried it in a pan until the edges got crispy and the center softened. Fried, it smelled like bacon's less ambitious cousin. Only 8 cents a serving. That's not cheap, that's almost free. The beans went on the stove in the morning and stayed there all day. By dinner time, the broth had thickened into something that was trying to be gravy. This wasn't budget food, this was just dinner. Also known as SOS, for reasons we won't repeat, salty dried beef and cream sauce over toast. A military staple that moved into civilian working class kitchens because the ingredients were cheap and the technique required almost no skill. The beef was so aggressively salty that you would drink water for an hour afterward. 22 cents a serving. Made in the big Tupperware bowl that lived in the fridge for the entire summer. Elbow macaroni, Kraft mayo, a little mustard, maybe some celery. maybe some sweet relish if someone was feeling fancy. The macaroni absorbed everything overnight and became something softer and more unified by the next day. We're halfway through and we want to know something. What's the one weird specific food your family made that nobody talks about? Drop it in the comments. And if you're enjoying this, subscribe. We do this every week. 11 cents. With the bread, you took a thick slice of bologna and dropped it in a dry pan on medium heat until the edges started to curl upward like tiny cups. The smell is a specific kind of savory that your nose remembers even if your brain has tried to forget it. Put it on white bread with yellow mustard. That's it. Manwich made it official, but families were already there. 33 cents for the sauce, a pound of ground beef, and a pack of hamburger buns. Under $1.50 for 6 people. The name Sloppy Joe was accurate. The sauce ran down your hand and the bun dissolved within the first minute. 49 to 69 cents. Aluminum tray filled with turkey, potatoes, something green that gave up halfway through production, and that dessert square that emerged at a temperature capable of removing fingerprints, eaten in front of the TV. That's why it was called a TV dinner, not as marketing, but as an instruction. Under 50 cents a serving. Campbell's cream of mushroom, canned tuna, egg noodles, frozen peas if you were putting in the effort. Top it with crushed crackers and bake. That smell? Creamy, fishy, starchy, warm. If that smell finds you now, it will transport you instantly to a kitchen that no longer exists. 25 cents a can. Spread it on Ritz crackers. That's the whole recipe. Potted meat and deviled ham were the protein snacks of a generation that couldn't afford protein snacks. The smell said, maybe not, but the budget said, yes. You ate it because crackers plus meat equals a meal, and that math doesn't require flavor to be correct. 14 cents, and genuinely good. Peanut butter provides the fat and the sweetness. The dill pickle provides the acid and the crunch. The bread absorbs both. Then it disappears. Not because it got bad, but because peanut butter became associated with jelly, and that was that. 11 cents. One slice of bologna, room temperature. Yellow mustard squeezed directly from the French's bottle. 2 pieces of bread pressed together. That's it. This was the sandwich that millions of kids carried to school 5 days a week. 30 seconds to make. Not exciting, not memorable, just enough. 15 cents for the soup. The grilled cheese on the side. Butter in the pan. 2 slices of white bread. American cheese pressed flat. You tore the corner off the sandwich and dipped it. That was the correct way to eat this meal. Anybody who did it differently was just wrong. 19 cents. The blue box. Boil, stir, add the powder that wasn't quite cheese, but did the job anyway. 4 servings. 1 pot. Almost no cleanup. A meal that asks nothing of you except 5 minutes and a working stove. Kraft Dinner is not nostalgia food. It is survival food that became comfort food. Now here's what happened to the math. That 19-cent box of Kraft Dinner, adjusted for inflation, should be about $1.35 today, but costs over $2. TV dinners should be under $5, but they're closer to $9. Soup should just be over $1, but it's nearly double. Across the board, these foods didn't just get more expensive, they got more expensive relative to what people earn. We didn't upgrade, we just started paying more for the feeling of upgrading. The families who lived on this food weren't eating poorly, they were solving a problem. They stretched ingredients, they improvised, they made things last. That's not bad cooking, that's precision, that's survival. Which one of these was actually in your house? Not the one you've only heard of, but the one you actually lived with. Let us know in the comments. Those are the stories worth remembering. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay nostalgic.